Good morning, friends. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining me for Crafty Storytime today. So when I was planning today's Crafty Storytime, I was looking at all the different weekly and daily holidays that there are. And I noticed that Wednesday, this past Wednesday, the 26th, was World Otter Day. And I love otters. They're some of my favorite animals to see at the zoo. So I thought we should talk about otters today. And at the end, I'll teach you how to make this little paper plate otter. So if you haven't picked up your craft kit at the library yet, that's okay. I'm going to leave them out for a couple more days. And if you did pick it up, then great. Stay tuned. At the end of story time, we will make that craft together. Okay, so let's get started with zoom, zoom, zoom. You ready? Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon. If you want to take a trip, climb aboard my rocket ship. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Very good. Let's do it one more time. You ready? Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon. If you want to take a trip, climb aboard my rocket ship. Zoom, 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 we're going to the moon in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off! Very good job. All right, so can you put up your fingers like this? These are your two little otters. Two little otters sitting on a cloud. One named Quiet and one named Loud. Run away, Quiet. Run away, Loud. Come back, Quiet. Come back, Loud. Very good. Let's do it again. Two little otters sitting on a cloud. One named Quiet and one named Loud. Run away, Quiet. Run away, Loud. Come back, Quiet. Come back, Loud. Very good. All right, now your two little otters are sitting down low. Two little otters sitting down low. One named Fast and one named Slow. Run away, Fast. Run away, Slow. Come back, Fast. Come back, Slow. Very good. Let's do it again. Two little otters sitting down low. One named Fast and one named Slow. Run away, Fast. Run away, Slow. Come back, Fast. Come back, Slow. Very good. All right, now your two little otters are sitting on a lily, which is a kind of flower. It goes like this. Two little otters sitting on a lily. One named Sirius and one named Silly. Run away, Sirius. Run away, Silly. Come back, Sirius. Come back, Silly. Very good. Let's do it one more time. You ready? Two little otters sitting on a lily. One named Sirius and one named Silly. Run away, Sirius. Run away, Silly. Come back, Sirius. Come back, Silly. Very good job. All right, let's read our book for today. So there are a bunch of otter books out there, but this is one of my favorites. This one's called Stop Snoring, Bernard. So this one's by Zachariah Ahora, and I am reading it with permission from Macmillan. Stop snoring, Bernard. Oh, it looks like this is going to take place at the zoo, which is one of my favorite places to see otters. Bernard loved living at the zoo. He loved mealtime, playtime, and best of all, nap time. But there was one little problem. Bernard snored loudly. One afternoon at nap time, Grumpy Giles had had enough. Snore somewhere else, Bernard, he said. Bernard tried sleeping in a lake, but that didn't work. Stop snoring, Bernard. Who's yelling at him? It's an alligator, a crocodile, one of the two. He tried sleeping in a fountain, but that didn't work either. Stop snoring, Bernard. Who's mad at him now? The giraffes. He even tried sleeping in a puddle, but that really didn't work. Who do you think is going to be mad? Whose feet do you think those are? Stop snoring, Bernard. It's an elephant, a very angry elephant. Bernard was sad and lonely. He found a tucked away place, curled up by himself, and drifted off to sleep. He's snoring and snoring. The other otters miss Bernard. They search for him all through the night. Bernard! Bernard! The next morning, Bernard woke up and saw hundreds of bats on the ceiling. "Excuse me," he said. "How did you sleep with all my snoring?" "We didn't," replied a bat. "We were out all night, and now we're trying to sleep, so please don't snore here." Bernard felt terrible. There wasn't any place he could sleep without bothering somebody. He trudged toward the zoo gate, but then he heard something. It was the other otters. "We couldn't sleep without you," said Grumpy Giles, "and I'm sorry I yelled. Please come back." And from that day on, everyone napped happily. Well, almost everyone. This one's covering his ears, and he says, "Good night, Bernard." So that's Stop Snoring, Bernard. Poor Bernard, he can't help that he snores when he sleeps. But all the other animals finally realized that that wasn't his fault, and they liked him just the way he was. All right, so let me get my little tiny flannel board out. I have an otter. His name is Ollie, and he's going to stand right here on my little flannel board. And I have a rhyme about Ollie. It goes like this. Ollie the otter loves to play, but his tummy is rumbling by the end of the day. He closes his eyes and he makes a wish. He reaches out his paw and he comes up with a fish. What color fish did Ollie get? Orange, very good. Let's do that rhyme again. Ollie the otter loves to play, but his tummy is rumbling by the end of the day. He closes his eyes and he makes a wish. He reaches out his paw and he catches another fish. What color is this fish? Pink. It blends right in with my flannel board. Very good. Let's do it again. Ollie the otter loves to play, but his tummy is rumbling by the end of the day. He closes his eyes and he makes a wish. He reaches in his paw and he pulls out a fish. What color is this fish? Yellow. Very good. Ollie the otter loves to play, but his tummy is rumbling by the end of the day. He closes his eyes and he makes a wish. He reaches in his paw and he pulls out a fish. What color is that fish? Blue. Very good. Ollie the otter loves to play, but his tummy is rumbling by the end of the day. He closes his eyes and he makes a wish. He reaches in his paw and he pulls out a fish. What color is that fish? Green. Very good. Ollie the otter loves to play, but his tummy is rumbling by the end of the day. He closes his eyes and he makes a wish. He reaches in his paw and he pulls out a purple fish. Very good. All right, I think there's still one more fish. Let's try one more. Ollie the otter loves to play, but his tummy is rumbling by the end of the day. He closes his eyes and he makes a wish. He reaches in his paw and he pulls out a fish. What color is that fish? Red. Very good. All right, so let's line up all these fish that Ollie caught so we can count how many he caught. There's our purple one, green, blue, yellow, dropped this one, my pink one, and finally, orange. All right, so let's count with Ollie how many fish he got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ollie ate 7 fish. Do you think he's so full now? I think he is. All right, can you wave goodbye to Ollie? He's gonna go take a nap now. Hopefully he doesn't snore like Bernard. All right, very good job, friends. All right, let's do one more little rhyme. This is open, shut them. You ready? Open, shut them, open, shut them. Give a little clap, clap, clap. Open, shut them, open, shut them. Lay them in your lap, lap, lap. Creep them, crawl them, creep them, crawl them. Right up to your chin, chin, chin. Open up your little mouth, but do not let them in. Very good. Let's do it one more time. You ready? Open, shut them, open, shut them. Give a little clap, clap, clap. Open, shut them, open, shut them. Lay them in your lap, lap, lap. Creep them, crawl them, creep them, crawl them. Right up to your chin, chin, chin. Open up your little mouth, but do not let them in. Very good job, friends. All right, so that's story time. Let's make our craft now. So if you have your craft kit from the library, why don't you go ahead and grab it, and we will make our otter craft. Okay, so this is what we're making. It's a lot of steps, but I think you can do it, okay? So your envelope should have a whole bunch of things. You should have, let me get all my pieces out. You should have some paper plates. You should have one big paper plate for the body and then 2 smaller paper plates for the head and his little snout. You should also have a sheet of brown construction paper. You should have a black pom-pom for his nose. You should also have 2 googly eyes. You should have a half sheet of colored paper. Mine is blue. That's going to be for your little sea star. As you can see on my example, it was pink, so you might have a completely different color. And then you're going to have a whole page of templates. So you're going to have like arms, legs, a tail, and ears. I cut mine out ahead of time just to save a little bit of time. So you can pause the video when you're doing that. And then you should also have a starfish template, which I also cut out ahead of time. All right, so let's get started. So I think the hardest step is the first one where you have to make the snout. I struggled with this, so if it's not perfect, that's okay because I didn't have mine perfect either. So you're gonna fold your first small plate in half. And then you might need an adult to help you. You're just gonna cut it so it kind of looks like his snout here. So mine's not even on my sample. I'm sure this one's not gonna be perfect at all, but that's okay. As long as it looks good to you, that's all that matters. So I just cut off 2 little wedges from the side to make it that shape. And then I'm just gonna cut a little bit kind of in this way to look like he has like a little snout. So like I said, it's not gonna be perfect, and that is okay. Because we just want cute, we don't want perfect, right? And you can kind of take a look at it, see if you want to cut a little bit more. As you can see, mine is not even at all, but that's okay. So there's my snout. All right, let me get my scraps out of the way. Okay, so now you're gonna take this little plate and you're gonna use some different browns. So as you can see, Ollie, or this isn't Ollie, this is just my sample. I haven't named him yet. The middle part of his snout is a dark brown, so I'm going to use my dark brown crayon to color that in. So you're pretty much just going to color right up to the edge of your plate. Let's see. Nice dark brown snout. I wonder what I should name my otter. I didn't even think to name him something yet. I do like the name Ollie for an otter a lot. Okay, so the middle part is brown now, as you can see. And then you're going to take a lighter brown and you're going to color the rest of the snout here. And it's a little tricky because your plate has like ridges on it and it doesn't lay flat. So it's okay if you have to kind of squish it down, and then you can have your grown-up help you kind of reshape it a little bit. So mine looks kind of like this now. All right. Next, you're going to take your pom-pom and you're going to make his nose. So I brought my glue for this one. I usually use tape, but it's pretty hard to just tape a pom-pom onto your plate. So you're going to put a little bit of glue on his nose, and you're just going to put it right in the middle of that plate, kind of like that. And be careful with it as it's drying. You might have to let it sit for a couple minutes. I'm just going to be very careful when I'm drawing the rest of his face. So next you're going to take, is there a black in here? If there's not, I might just use a dark blue because that will do the same thing. So you're going to take a darker crayon or marker and you're going to make his snout here. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a line down from his nose to the middle of his snout. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the darker color along the bottom just to kind of show that that's his mouth. And I'll put some dots on his snout. And then I'll just draw a couple whiskers. So it kind of looks like that. And you can do however you want. He doesn't have to have whiskers if you don't want him to. He can have a lot more whiskers if you want. So that's his snout. So I'm going to set it there so the pom-pom can dry a little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to take our second little plate. This is going to be his head, as you can see. And you're going to glue or tape the snout onto the bottom. So I'm going to tape this just so it doesn't have to sit and dry even more. But if you want to glue yours and let it sit, that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to take a couple pieces of tape and just stick them right on the back of this snout that I made. And I'm going to attach it to the bottom half of this plate so it kind of looks like that. All right. So now we have to color the rest of this plate to look like his little face. So as you can see, I have like a stripe coming down here that goes right into his nose. And the bottom part here is kind of a dark brown, but the rest of it is all that light brown. So you can kind of eyeball it and see what's going to look best. This is a little crooked, so let me reset it on here. Got to make sure his face is a little more straight. Otherwise his mouth might be really crooked. Okay, there we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'll show you as I'm doing it. I'm going to just draw some brown going up, kind of like that. And then I'm going to color it in. It doesn't have to be perfect, because this is just fur, so it's not like you have to have super clean lines, because there are no otters out there that have super clean lines like that. You just have fur. And they're all a little bit different, so if yours looks different than mine, that's fine. This already looks different from the example I made. Okay, and you can spend time making it a little darker if you want. I actually went back over mine when I did my sample to make it darker, but that's what my stripe looks like. And then I'm going to color a little bit along the bottom, a dark brown under his snout, right there. We're going to just do that all under his mouth. So you can kind of see it. It's a little darker under there. And then you're going to take your lighter brown crayon and color the rest of his face. And if this isn't the pattern you want to do on your otter, if you have a different idea of how you want his face to look, like if you want it to be all a dark brown, or if you want to make him gray even, kind of like how Ollie, our little flannel otter, looked, you can do that too. These are just the colors that I decided to do, but you can do whatever you want to make your otter look exactly the way you want him to. Okay. So, there's the rest of his face all colored in. Okay, so now that his face is all colored in, you can take your googly eyes, and I was gonna glue them, but I don't want them to fall off, so I'm gonna use tiny pieces of tape. If you wanna glue yours on, that's perfect. I might have actually glued on my original one, just because I had more time to let it dry, but. Okay, so let me take a tiny piece of tape for each eye. And then I'll show you how you can put them on his face. So what I did on my sample is I put them on either side of that brown stripe on his face. Kind of like that. He's starting to look like an otter. So there's his face. All you're missing here are the ears, which we will get to. Okay, so now you're gonna take your big plate. It's time to make his body. So for the face, I use like the bottom of the plate so the face kind of sticks out. For the body, I had it sitting the way you would normally have a plate, so it's kind of bows under. I don't think there's a right or wrong way, that's just the way I did it. So you're gonna take your crayon and you're gonna color the whole outside of the rim a dark brown. Or whatever color you're doing, like if you're making your otter gray, or if you're making it really colorful, maybe like a blue or an orange. Whatever color you want to do. I'm going to stick with my dark brown. And you're going to go all the way around. I pretty much just kept the dark brown on the ridges of the plate, and then the rest of it I kept a light brown. Kind of like that. And like I said, you can go back over it. I'm just doing it pretty quickly for the video, but as you can see on my sample, it's a lot darker. And then you're gonna take your light brown crayon and color the inside, and that's gonna be his belly, his little fuzzy belly. So whatever color you wanted to make his belly, color that now on the inside of the plate. I never realized how hard it was to color on a plate until I had to do it. But I think I'm getting the hang of it now. Just takes a little practice. Okay. So there's his little belly. All right. So now you're going to take your head that you made and you're going to attach it to the top of your plate. I don't know if there's a top or a bottom. I'm just going to put it there. Again, you can use glue for this. I think I used staples on my original just to make sure it actually worked. I'm going to use tape this time. Do a little bit of tape there. And a little bit of tape on this side, but if you want to glue yours, that's great. Probably if I had more time, I would glue mine. So there's this, oh, there's his little head. All right, he's starting to look like an otter. Okay, so next you're gonna do a lot of tracing. So I'm gonna just move him out of the way for now. So take your template sheets and cut those out. So you should have your starfish, which you can set aside. We're gonna use that last. And then you should have an arm template, a foot, an ear, and a tail. So as you can see on each one, I said how many you should cut out. So for the tail, you just need one. You need to cut 2 arms, 2 feet, and 2 ears. So take your brown construction paper and trace out the right number of each of those. So I'm going to start by tracing the tail. There's my tail. And I'm going to trace 2 arms. And they don't have to look perfect. These templates are actually just the things that I drew freehand and they ended up working, so I made copies. So you guys have something to trace, but if you want to make his paws or his feet look a little bit different, you can do that. There's definitely no right or wrong way to do this craft. So there are his arms. Let me trace his little feet now. His little flippers. There's 1. And 2. And then finally his little ears, which are pretty much almost just exact circles with a little bit of an edge to them. All right, so once you have all of those traced, it's time to cut them out. And as usual, if you need a grown-up to help you cut them out, that's totally fine. We want you to be safe. So I'm sure whatever grown-up you are hanging out with today would be happy to help you cut these out. This makes me want to go to the zoo to visit the otters again. Do you guys have a favorite animal at the zoo? I think mine are, of course, the otters. I love to see the otters. But I also really like the sea lions, especially when you see them doing like their tricks and stuff. Like I remember one time when I was a kid, I got to go there with my mom and my brother, and we got to watch the sea lions do all their tricks with their trainers. That was very, very cool. So I think other than otters, sea lions are some of my favorite zoo animals. I mean, they're all pretty great, but you have your favorites. All right, so there are his little ears. Next up, we'll do his arms. I think they're called arms, or legs maybe. I don't know what you would call it on an otter. There's one. And if you're making your otter a color that's not brown, and these brown arms and legs are just not looking right, if you have any other different colored construction paper at your house that would match better, you can use that instead. Or if you just have white paper, you can cut them out on that and then color them whatever colors you want. So you can make this otter look pretty cool. That might be fun to actually make like a rainbow otter. That would be neat. Maybe I should try that. Pink otter with like purple legs and a green tail and blue ears. That would be really cool. All right, there's one little foot. And here is our last one, a second foot. All right, so now that you have all of your pieces cut out, all except your star, but we'll do that at the end, we are going to attach them. So you can use glue. I'm going to use tape again, just to make sure that everything stays on. I'm going to start with his little ears, I think, and attach those to his head. So on my original one, I just kind of had him on either side of that stripe at the top of his head. I think I'm going to do that again because that ended up looking pretty good. So there's one. There's two. So there are his ears. He looks a little bit like a bear, but adding the star really makes it clear what he is. All right, let's do his back feet next. So those will just go at the very bottom of your plate. And the back feet are the really short ones. You want to keep the long ones for his arms. And there's two. All right, so let me show you his back feet now. His little back feet down at the bottom of the plate. And while we're down there, let's also add his tail. So his tail goes right between his back feet. Perfect. All right, and then last we're gonna add the arms, but I think I'll add one arm and then I'll wait to add the second arm once he's holding his little star. I think that will be the easiest thing to do. So you can put one arm on this side, or whatever side you don't want him holding the star. Kind of like that. Okay, and then keep your other arm handy while we cut out our star. Whoops, my tape is falling apart. There we go. All right. So get your colored paper out. And then I have to find my star template. There it is. You're just going to trace your star onto your colored paper. So I have blue here, my sample had pink. You might have purple. I think there's some green, some orange. And again, if that's not a color that you want, if you have different colored paper at your house, you can use that instead. So the star can be whatever color you want it to be. Okay, so I traced my star. I'm going to cut it out now. This is another time, you can ask the grown-up that's helping you today for help cutting this out to make sure that you don't hurt yourself. Or if you're really good at cutting things out, then go ahead and cut it out yourself. Little sea star. Alright, so this is the last step of our otter craft. Once you have your star cut out, I think the best thing to do would be to tape it to his other little hand that you have cut out. So he's going to hold it like that. So let me tape the star to his little hand first, or his little paw, kind of like this. And then we get one last piece of tape. Oops, my tape is not working. And you're going to attach his last little paw to the plate, like that. And there you are. There's your paper plate otter. Like I said, that was kind of a longer craft, but you did a great job sticking with it, and I would love to see your final otter craft. So if you want to put them in the comments so I can see them, maybe tell me what you might have named them. I think I'm going to name my original one, I think I'm going to name him Ollie. Even though that's the name of my flannel one, I really like the name Ollie. And this one, I think I'm going to name him Otis. I like O names when it comes to otters. So Ollie and Otis, those are my two otter friends. All right, so post a picture of your final otter creation in the comments. And if you haven't gotten your craft kit, stop by the library. I'm going to leave them out so you can get them. I hope you have a really good rest of your day and a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Thanks, friends. Bye-bye.